Hey guys, welcome back. In the previous videos, we optimized our request specifications inside a specification factory and we provided our tokens via a token factory. Now, a typical lifespan of a token is, let's say, 1 hour or a couple of hours. And since the API test typically finishes within a matter of minutes, I think it just makes sense that instead of trying to create tokens every single time for every single test, if we could create tokens once and if we could reuse them for all the test cases. Just to show an example, if I go to booking test and if I try to run all the tests, we will see that for every single test, wherever we need an authentication token, for example, in tear down for delete, and in cases for patch update, etc., a new token is created for each particular test. So if I do a control F now, and if I search for token, we see 10 instances of tokens created here. And if you scroll down, we can see each of these tokens is a unique token. And it will be nice if we could just create one instance of this token and reuse those tokens across the framework. In this particular case, we only have, for example, 4 test cases, but imagine if this was not 4, but 400, creating singleton tokens will give you a lot of advantage in terms of efficiency in reusing your tokens. So the way we can create singleton tokens is, let's say if I go back to token factory, let's also remember that, when we do not have singleton tokens, we have created 10 different tokens before we could make use of them inside our API calls. And now what we're going to do is, we already example of singleton pattern in our test config class. So for a singleton pattern, what we need to do is, let me zoom in a little bit. Let's make it more readable. So for a singleton pattern, what we do is we first create a unique instance of that particular class, and then we use that instance to basically get the configuration or get the keys that we are interested in. So using the same pattern, what I'm going to do is, let's just, for example, maybe let's just copy paste these things, and then we will remove unnecessary items from our code. So if I go to token factory, and let's say if I copy paste these items, for unique instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste this token factory because we're interested in a unique instance of token factory. We are not interested in config, so I'm going to remove it. And when we are creating a constructor, I'm going to now create a constructor for token factory. It is going to be private because we do not want anyone to directly access this. Let me delete this. Delete. What we're interested is in having this admin token and a maintainer token as final variables. So what I'm going to do is, let me create 2 variables here. Private string admin token, and I'm also going to create another token which is going to be a maintainer token. So we have an maintainer token and we have an admin token, and we only want to set them once and reuse them everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark them as final. And now it is complaining that we have defined this token as final, but it is not initialized anywhere. So if I say add constructor parameters, and let's say if we select both of them, refactor, what we are seeing is we now have a private token factory which is setting up both maintainer token and admin token. The only difference is we are not going to provide any tokens parameters, but we are going to basically get these parameters from this method that we define as get token method. So what I'm going to say is we need an auth body, and we are going to set the maintainer token using this method called get token, and I'm going to pass the body as auth body. And in fact, I could say as auth body maintainer, and I can copy paste, in fact, the same thing, or maybe not the same thing. Let me copy paste for admin. Let me do a copy paste, and I will call it as auth body admin. So we're going to pass the auth body for maintainer token. Let's do a get token, and we're going to pass admin body here. So now we have set up both maintainer token and admin token via our constructor. And what is happening is, let's also change this test config to test factory. So we're returning the instance of this particular class. And the moment we call this constructor, let me delete these parameters. The moment we call this constructor is going to set these variables maintainer token and admin token. And now actually we should be able to, instead of setting up the auth body here, we should be able to just return the maintainer token. Okay, let's change this method from get token for from static method to a non-static method. So let's call it as maintainer token, and I will comment this part of the code. We don't need the break statement as well, and I'm also going to comment this code, and I'm going to return, in case of admin token, we will return the admin token. And then we don't need this return method anymore, so I'm going to comment this. And we also don't need to have this method as static, so I will not make it as static, and in fact I'll make it as private, because we don't want anyone to get direct access to this method, but we only want to have them access on this factory method get token for, which will accept a scope and which will return a token type depending on the scope. Let's also remove this auth body. I'm going to just comment this for now. And of course now we have two problems, so let's go and fix them. So instead of saying token factory get token for maintainer, we first need to get an instance of it. So get instance, and now we can get token for this maintainer. So let me copy paste this, and if we do this, now all the errors are gone. So we have a token factory where we get a unique instance and we get a token for maintainer. So let's see if it works, and let's see if we don't get those 10 instances, but if you only get, let's say, one instance for admin and one instance for maintainer token. So if I go to booking test, let's run, for example, the whole class again, and see what happens. So first and foremost, the test should work fine, and then we should see if we are getting one instance of the test. So this is exactly how it has always run in the past. So if I do a Control F, and if I search for token again, we can see we have two instances, right? Which is exactly what we expected. One for admin token and one for maintainer token. In the past, we have got 10 tokens. So if you have got different kind of tokens, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10, and if you've got 5 inner test cases, those tokens will only be created once, and they will be used across the life cycle of your test. Now, this pattern will only work, let's say, if your tokens are a little bit long-lived, and it will not work if your tokens are very short-lived. Typically, API tests run and finish within a matter of minutes, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and that's why I feel this optimization can give you a lot of efficiency in terms of your test execution. But you have to see if your application tokens have a long life or not, and how much time does the API test take, and accordingly you have to take a call if you want to implement this singleton pattern, or if you don't want to implement this singleton pattern. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in another interesting video. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.